All right, good morning, good day. Welcome to another episode of Jenna Hurst podcast, and or as we get ready for the day. Link down below to my YouTube account, and from the YouTube account, you'll see the tab. I believe I don't know how it actually works. I believe you can go to sections where it's the podcast. So I have all the podcasts lined in there if you want to check out podcast conversations with other people. With me today, talking to myself. Also I have my story as best as I've been able to capture. If you want to know more about me, or just I essentially one day hit record and then my whole story came through. So that's what's there for me. I'm gonna get ready today and just share my heart. Also, I don't know the words to say yet. I call myself a linguistic architect, and quantum linguistic architect is more accurate based on my experience. And in reality, the quantum, as I understand it, because I get into geeky stuff here, uh, is simply the unseen, the energy that we have discovered that is both particle and waveform, and that we can literally, with observer effect, bring it into form. So it is scientific, mathematical magic, as in we take nothing and make something. And that's what we get to do as humans, like every day. So I'm working on normalizing, scientificalizing, I make up a lot of words, creating, and words are all made up anyway. So if you have a challenge with me making up words, I make up words because words are made up. And often for me, as I experience the experience of, as best as I've discovered it today, the way that it feels and I relate to it and the way I speak about it, it comes through the filtered word where, you look at a word, there's like multiple definitions. I will use the word channeling. And why I say that and why I say so many words around it is that if I say channeling, you're going to go into the first definition most likely, which is aliens, and science is a whole other thing. And just the whole thing where it's like you're going to go into the bucket of that. What I want to do is take the layer B, the definition B, and teach you what I perceive and experience as channeling until I have a better language to what it is. I'm going to say it as I understand it until I have better language. I'm in the pursuit of creating language, as I'm very committed in being understood. I'm very committed to being clear and not confusing. And I know when I speak, I most likely confuse everybody. And my experience personally, my speaking freely, my confusion, my experience energetically has led me to a near-death experience, a protection order, and a lot of other very complex, convoluted conversations that have impacted my life in a major way, where I lost my full-time business, my full-time job. I had a full-time photography career and also a full-time job, my house, many relationships, and has forced me to rebuild with absolutely nothing. I'll take that back. I did have money from the sale of my house that has floated me up until now, and the bucket that that money should have gone into, for my future and all the things, sadly, is empty, and I don't have a financial future in my current reality. And much of what I'm going to create today is the starting foundation of creating resources for you to line up, sign up. I believe at this stage is a Patreon. I don't exactly know what's next and makes the most sense. If I were to say it my way, like the most simple, easy, fun way, I'm gonna just put it that way actually, it would be Patreon, is how it wants to say. Okay, Patreon it is. This is the experience of channeling. This is the experience for me, 6'2" sacral generator, talking up and out of my body, letting my body talk. Why I say that is in my brain, I was like, easiest would be PayPal, Cash App, Telegram. Like that would be easy. Like that's so easy. I live from simple, easy fun. I live from what can be the easiest, most viable product. Would be easy. The challenge I see is doesn't always execute in the world of form. And what I see for world of form is Patreon gives you ability to see, people can fundraise and donate and all the things and create a system that actually works for me and it will work for me. And that's what I'll work on today. And actually I had a friend, former friend, I think maybe still friend, we'll see one day with they can clear shit out, they were like, you should have Patreon. I'm like, yeah, you say that, except I don't know what to do to invite people in. And even today, you could somewhat say you still don't know what to do to invite people in. And I woke up this morning in discovery of what I get to say and invite people in. So I'm going to have links eventually. And if I don't, because I'm not the best at going on through links, and one day I'll have an assistant who can do that for me, is there's most likely a video or something that will talk about Gene Key number 4 here on the channel. And I hope to do it today. Hope to do it after this, after I put makeup on. And what I want to do there is I'm going to walk you through the shadow state of Gene Key 4 and then invite you into Patreon to learn more. So help you discover how to simply release that energy, because right now we're all trapped in either repressive or reactive states of the energy, stuck in the duality where much of what I want to lean into eventually birth into with the full spectrum. As for now, it's me working on my real life, whole life methodology, which is what I was and did create up until today. So again, back to channeling. I say what's on my heart and I don't filter it. And often in that freedom of expression and the unfiltered content that is mind and brain just falling out of my mouth and my heart and emotions coming up and welling over, it can create a conglomerated mess of confusion for sure. I know that. And if you bear with me, as I know with human design and what I'm passionate about, is I speak through the lens of 8. I don't have that one, except I'm very connected to people who do. I speak through the lens of 56. So again, another experience of channeling. I experience on the quantum, my energetic level, I'm tapped in or connected to something or someone that influences words in my mouth that I'm like, I didn't think about that. I didn't know about 8 making sense. And when I say that, then my brain puts dots together and then it makes sense. So I'm going to get ready. I'm also practicing in my own unique way of how to speak when other people are listening. And it is tricky to say the least. I'm also going to say I want and desire to do a morning get ready with me 5-10 minutes, most likely will turn into 40, where I just share, not that way, I don't want to say it that way, where I explore what is living inside of my brain and body to be an inspectation. I don't think that's a word, of myself. And what I also see this morning is the beautiful gift of the silencer, which Aaron and I were creating. And what I see in that is my desire, which I shared yesterday, and in quantum collapsing and being able to free people up in their resources and energy, is this ability to get to 100%. And what I really see with the community too, Jaden helped me see this, is how do you get to 100% first before you go and expect someone else to help you get to 100%. And so I feel that the challenge I have is I don't feel like I had a way to get to 100% by myself if I was in my own space. Except me talking to my computer with the thought of someone else possibly watching it works. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I don't care to get it. This works. I'm going to go with it. And I'm fulfilling on an intention that I had yesterday and in a way that I could have never imagined. And that is much of my experience. I have a picture I like to play. There's a card game, and I don't remember what it is. My sister and I would play it. And essentially you play through, you have a deck of cards in your hand or a set of cards in your hands, and then you are playing off of a what's it called, discard pile, except you pull every 3, I think it is, like every 3 is what you flip over. And so if no one can play on the cards that are getting drawn, you take the top one and you move it to the bottom and then just keep going. So essentially by changing one card at the top, move it to the bottom, it completely changes all the cards you have access to because you're always moving the 3rd card or flipping over the 3rd card. And that's been my experience with life, is having a deck of cards that is my life, playing certain cards, and as a result, getting results. And when I get stuck, it's shifting something and then seeing what transpires or plays out. And it always works, in my opinion. And there are certain times where I am down to what feels like down to the wire, that feels like the last play of the game. And it's overwhelming and scary because I don't want to lose, and I don't lose. Feeling very like Queen's Gambit energy when watching that. I don't lose, I always win. So if I look like I'm losing, this can't be the case because I always win. And there is no losing. So much of my heart intention too is continuing to develop the core concept of the game. I don't have it yet. I'm in creation of what actually executes in the minds and hearts of humans. Right now, I have done, I think, like 2 or 3 video recordings in the morning. And I do still like the concept. I do still like the concept. I'd like to have other people's opinions. That's actually why I don't feel like I create it. Because I don't want to be a dictator. I want to create something that works for everybody. And so I'm very reluctant, if not full stop, intentional retardation of my reality. I've done work around deconstructing it. Go find the comments or something, because I'm sure I'll talk about it eventually. A full retardation of my reality, aka self-sabotage. I don't want to create alone. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to be Melanie Ann Lair. I don't want to be someone who sits at the top and you all look at my face and my name and my reality like you want to be me. No, I want you to be me as in I want you to be yourself. I want you to be your you, which is technically me in your cognitive brain. It's tricky, and I'm trying to linguistically create math in a universal language that accounts for that. And to build a way that everyone sees the world is a lot of work. And a lot of work and a lot of work and a lot of work and a lot of work. So I do feel like I work full time. And today, this experience, what I'm up to, Capricorn double full moon, which I don't have much tie to. I just do live in what I would say is wild divine alignment. And much of my experience is I'll have an experience and then I'll see on social media, it's like, oh, did you know this, this, and this? And I don't per se plan in alignment with the moon. I just more so see my life ends up being in alignment with the moon in ways that I could have never imagined or picked. And so it's like, oh, that's an amazing thing. I also will say I love the longevity, the historical context that we can tap into with historical, as best as we have it, documentation through the Bible. And why I say that is they always had new moon and I don't know about full moon, new moon festivals. And like they did stuff on the moon, like intentionally. And now if you do that, you become a witch. And I'm very committed to being myself, and I don't want to become. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather be a quantum architect. I'd rather be a quantum architect than a witch. And again, working on deconstructing the language of quantum so that it is not such tricky language. Okay, I got ready. It's 12 minutes. I feel good about that. I do feel in due time, this, as I speak to you here, will formulate and turn into what I'm hoping will be the game. I would love to do a morning workshop, a morning video, a morning something to just say hi, good morning, good day, you're amazing. And it's real shit out there. And you're doing the work to survive it. And I'm doing the work to have it so that we don't have to survive it and that we actually could thrive in it. And I don't know a way to do that yet. So I don't think you have a way to quote unquote thrive in our current reality. If you do, please let me know. I'd love to pick your brain. I do not have $10,000 to pay you though. So if you would like to co-create a resource that works for everyone, that I like to say for the lowest common denominator, if you have a resource for that, I would love that. And as I like to say, be the lowest common denominator, as that for me is zero. Being a zero, I love that. I love being me as I am without the expectation to be anything different. I love discovering myself in default mode. I truly believe my default is good, even though I was programmed to a very religious conditioning of a brain that was bad, and I discovered that that is not true. So in my discovery of that is not true, my life has completely flipped on its head. If you are not in alignment with me, you may see that as bad. If you know who I am and you know what I do and you know what I'm creating, you know the goodness of my masked life, the world where I pretended no longer existing. And it's pretty awesome to have that be taken away. That was a big shift in the energy. Okay, big shift in the experience that I was having in my body. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I have a literal brain I believe much the people that will watch me in some ways have a literal brain too. And so I, like I said, am in pursuit of writing and scripting and creating a universal language where you actually get what I'm saying and we actually can come together and talk in a way that matches what we're saying. What does channeling mean? This is my channel, the YouTube channel, where I am channeling my brain and my heart and what makes sense to me. No aliens for me, please, thank you. I'm wanting to be a human on the planet, not interested in aliens. If that's for you, no shame if that's your world. I simply am in pursuit of being radically me and pray for the possibility that we could be friends in alignment, even if I don't agree or understand yours. I believe that's a possibility, and aliens don't make sense to me, and I don't want to understand them. That's the boundary I'm going to say as I create this and I talk about the alien stuff. I will say that why I say that up front too is as I post content and as I find people and as I discover people who are so passionate about connection, this has in some ways a lesson I learned, a backfire that I had, is that I'm too so excited for connection. And that's something that I found comes to be actually a division or disappointment for people. And so I just want to say it up front, that's where I'm at and I'm really clear on it. And that's where I'm at and I'm really clear on it. And I hope and believe that if you that's where you're at, that you're really clear on it too. And that if you're really clear and I'm really clear, that we can simply be clear as ourselves here and we don't have to get the other person anywhere. They're exactly where they need to be. I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm doing what makes sense to me. In the event and day that it makes sense, I will let you know. Up until now, I just simply want to function as a human on the planet, and that's what I want to create as the game. And I find that the esoteric, spiritual, which actually this is a really wild epiphany this morning, the breakdown, I'd have to double check it. This was a Facebook post, so it could be inaccurate. The breakdown in this post of saying spiritual is essentially the spiral and ritual create spiritual. And that was so fascinating to me and much of why I'm in the pursuit of demystifying reality. I'm not interested in spiraling around in spirituality for forever. I want to create real tangible results with real factual scientific nervous system magic. Again, the word magic comes through. It is quite magical as we are taking wave forms and particles and turning them into tangible reality. The thing is, it's also science. And it is difficult for a Newtonian world that has found science to be one way to receive and conceptualize what Einstein discovered and what continues to be expanded on by those that are willing to play in the fringe spaces. And when you discover it, it's overwhelming. And then you get better and better and better and better and better. And that's what I want to help you all do is learn the way in which we see and experience life creates the way we see and experience life. And another point as I just see this come through and I want to try to collect all my tidbits and resources and turn them into content. Reticular activating system. I'm just going to scream from the rooftops the science and magic behind that. I will get into it one day, probably a video specifically I'd like to write and create and record, as that right there I see is really the core crux of our reality. What does your reticular activating system see? That is your reality. That is what you see. And we can shift that with intentionality, control, and completely shift your reality all by that little thing. And that's science. I believe we have enough science to prove it. I have to do research because I like to say, without being in spiritual or religious spaces, the minds that I often get are ones that are very committed to making the middle way make sense. So I am clear that your brain is most likely like mine. And it's not even that you need to understand it to go about life or understand me. For me, I personally experienced the necessary experience of that is if I'm going to be loud and proud and bold about my beliefs publicly online, I'm going to hit against ignorant and confused brains. Like I'm going to. So what's there for me is to do the due diligence to love, care, and serve those that don't understand, because this is not something that the common person understands. I'll even say this to friends of mine where I speak something out that is confusing. If you don't understand, all you're giving me is feedback that I get to keep chewing on this. And that's much of been my TikTok. That has been much of my life ever since discovering TikTok. It's this concept I create and I chew on it, chew on it, chew on it, talk about it with other people and keep going and keep going. And then one day I'm like, there it is. It's so simple now. And now I get to do that. And that actually was the first assignment that I had when I went to my doctor after my experience. She said, research the word genius. That's your first assignment. And so I did, and the definition I got is taking that which is beyond comprehension and making it consumable. And so that is my continued pursuit, except here where you're watching this today, as I keep going, I'm not there yet. And so if you're able to take anything from what I say today, thank you. I'd love to know. Please share in the comments what stood out to you. What is there? Did I leave any open tabs? I will come back and complete them in the next video. If I have anything you want me to continue in conversation, I would love to turn this into a daily morning show in a way where I get ready and share my heart and my mind and anything else that wants to pop in and make sense in the present moment. So I'll let it to say I'm complete. I love you so big. Peace, love, happiness. Enjoy the day. And also Zoom is updated. So we got new buttons and new places. That's always fun for the ADHD brain experience. Okay, for reals. Peace, love, happiness.